Hello, BookTube. I'm Jack from Jack's Literary Corner, and I finally have a day off again. And I decided to go ahead because I haven't made a video in a while to just talk to you guys about what I'm going to be reading tomorrow. I just filmed a video actually, the summer reading tag. I didn't prepare and remind myself the name of the tag, but I do know whose video I watched to do this tag, so I'm going to find that video, and then I need to find the original tag when I upload this to Goodreads. I mean to you guys on BookTube. I don't know why I say Goodreads. So let's tell you guys what I'm going to be reading tomorrow. So my main priority, of course, is to finish Malice, and I've been working on I'm working on my describing the book, because for some reason I keep failing to give you guys an actual description of the plot in this book, because when I want to read more books like this, but because they're so long, I end up spacing out when I read them, and then I end up forgetting the main plot until I start reading it again. So I can't really give you a description until I get back deep into reading the book. But it's an epic fantasy. It's really fun and thrilling story. A lot of interesting characters. I definitely have predictions of things that I'm wondering if they're going to be revealed or not, or revealed if I'm going to be right or wrong about them. I do not know, but it's a multi-perspective story with a lot of characters too, which is really cool. So before I continue on, basically tell you what this I'm on chapter 78, and there are 88 chapters. So I'm very close to the end. I'm gonna read a little bit more tonight after I film this video. I'm gonna read a couple more chapters. And then I'm gonna read some more tonight, and since I have my day off, I can focus on reading the book. And I'm working all this week, and the next time I have off after tomorrow is Monday, I believe. I almost worked today though, actually, yesterday, because my coworker, his wife had an appointment, I think, so he had to ask someone to take his place tomorrow. But it also is early in the morning, so my dad, of course, works that day, and then that morning he works Thursday mornings and on the weekends. And then we do have Uber here, but it doesn't start until I think it does start at 7:30. So I could have done that, but I already told Tanisha, who makes the schedules, that I couldn't do it. So although it's good, I really hope, I'm always worried though that I'm worried that they're gonna call me and be like, I thought you were gonna come in for Chris, and it's like, well, no, actually I told Tanisha. I mean, I'm pretty sure, but there's always that little voice in my head that what if there was a misunderstanding? Maybe it stems from the fact that I think I've inherited some of my dad's anxiety issues. So, but anyway, it's so good and so engaging, and I love the story. It's just, with it being this long, sometimes I decide, I want to read something new and something else, that I'm, it's not that I'm bored, it's just all of a sudden I'm more interested in something else. It's still a great book. And I'm almost done, and I don't know how much is going to be revealed by the end of this book, because it's a series. So this is the first book, and then there's Ruin, Valor, and I don't know if they're just 3 books, or if there's going to be maybe more than 3. I have to look that up. But I'm so close to the end. It's so hard because I like to do other stuff. I'm one of those crazy people who loves watching TV and surfing the internet and, watching YouTube and BookTube and, going on, all that good stuff. That stuff that basically turns your brain to mush. I like to do that, and so I'm working on balancing that time, and I'm still trying to find motivation to write. But the problem is I can't settle on an idea. Like, but my sister did suggest something that I've heard other people on here suggest for writing, which is do like this, where you have, you write your ideas down on something, like on a sticky note or something, and then just have a little chart, not like put it on a wall or something and go through it and stuff like that. And then you can rearrange things. You don't have to erase or anything like that. You just can move the sticky. The risk of that is that getting it on the wall. So my mom, if I do that, Mom might request that I not put it on the wall. Put on like some board or something. But anyway, but yeah, I am almost done. I can't wait to finish this. And then once I finish it, I can safely ask my mom to get me the next book off of Amazon, unless by some miracle it does show up at My Books A Million. So I cannot wait. So I'm probably this is my main priority. And this was one of these things where I looked at it as, like, I'm not trying to be a gatekeeper or whatever, but I do want to have a series that is, like, that's mine. That I got, not mine, but a series that I got other people, and people asking me questions about it. And it's, like, special to me, and people think of me when they think of the series. Like, granted, it might just be me being, thinking that other people, like, when I think of that series, I think of those other people. It's probably just me. But I want to feel like a series that I want to obsess with. Like, I recently discovered Daniel Green's channel, and whenever I think of Wheel of Time, I will be thinking of him. Ellie Brooks, one of the series that I will associate with her is the Witcher series. Like, I want someone to feel that way about me, and maybe that selfishness coming through, but yeah, I want a series that, and I'm talking an adult series. I'm not talking like, Harry Potter's old news, although apparently not to J.K. Rowling, but, I still love that series and everything, but people are starting to move on, so, anyway, of course, people always hold that series in a special place in their heart. It will always be in a lot of people's top 10s or at least top 50s. But anyway, either way, I'm having such a great time, and I'm eager to finish this, so I'm definitely going to focus on this tomorrow. But there are so many series and books that I want to focus on. I really need to, read some non-fantasy standalone type books. Or at least, not, like, but it's so easy for me to go to fantasy. Fantasy is my go-to genre. So, and I always have fun with it. But I do need to finally start this so I can finally get it back to my sister. The Kitchen God's Wife. This is another book by Amy Tan. If you guys don't know who she is, she wrote The Joy Luck Club. She is a Chinese-American author. And she writes a lot about mothers and daughters in her fantasy books. And The Joy Luck Club, the last time that one was brought up was when when the Crazy Rich Asians came out, and people were saying that there hasn't been an all-Chinese cast since The Joy Luck Club in the movie, so, which that one was good. Although I feel like because I've seen the movies, I know the plot, it kind of made the book like, oh, okay, I know what happens, it's great, I enjoy reading it, I had a good time reading it, but it's not anything special, because it was just one of these things where I felt like I should read it. But this is my chance to read something that's not one I'm familiar with, and hopefully it will still be special, it will be a little bit more special to me. And then I also bought another book by her, The Bone Setter's Daughter. I bought that one at Gibbons, which I'm on my way to go to tomorrow. I'm gonna probably stop by there tomorrow for a few hours. But I don't know much about it, but I do want to finally read this one. I need to read 1770s or John Adams by David McCullough as well, but I don't know when I'll get to that one. That's gonna be a while. I mean, Ryan may never get that book back. But I should buy a paperback copy, but I might bring this one with me if I go to South Carolina with my parents. Because there's always a chance I might not go for, like, maybe the dogs can't travel anymore or something and they want me to stay home, or like or maybe work doesn't give me the time off. But if I go, part of me feels like I should bring this one, but I probably won't. But anyway, I need to read this next month. But I think I might dabble in it a little bit. Who knows, I might start tomorrow. That's why I'm holding it, because I probably should start it tomorrow. And then the other one I'm definitely probably going to bring with me is Misery by Stephen King. And as you can see, I started reading this, of course it's horror because it's Stephen King. He's mostly known for that, but he does write fantasy. And a lot of sometimes his horror deals with the real world problems, like his Pet Cemetery, like Murphy Napier pointed out how that one actually deals with grief. Not The Dark Half. Revival kind of deals with life and death, and if you should bring back the dead or not. Like, should we become immortal and all that? And then what was the other one that and it, in a way, is kind of about losing your innocence, like, and growing up and stuff like that. And there was another one that I think Daniel Green himself mentioned that was about kind of deeper meaning. But anyway, this one is about Paul Sheldon. He's one of those authors who writes books that you can find at the supermarket or the airport. They're bestsellers. They're really good. And he has the series called Misery, about this one from like the 1800s, which I was surprised. I didn't realize that's not the character. But anyway, so eventually he decides he wants to write something new. So he kills off the character and starts working on this manuscript called Fast Cars, and about this guy who works on cars and is passionate about cars and stuff like that. And while Paul is traveling, he gets into a car accident where he breaks his leg, and he is rescued by his number one fan, Annie Wilkes, who is obsessed with his Misery series. And when she finds out, she talks about when she found out that he killed off Misery in the end of the series, she gets incredibly pissed off and heartbroken too. When she kidnaps Paul, she convinces him to bring back the character of Misery for her, and as if that it was the last book reveals that it wasn't real, that she didn't die, and she basically tortures him, which is so funny because Murphy loves this book. But then I had this guy I was communicating with on Goodreads. He was asking me if I liked horror and stuff like that, and he referred to Misery as I don't know if I could say that word, because apparently just looking up using this one word on the internet, it allowed for me to get a bunch of crap. It wouldn't allow for me to get a bunch of crap stuff. And so my mom when I told her, because I was worried about that, she was like, okay, you need to clear your history and get rid of this. So I don't even know if I could say it on here. Maybe I'm being paranoid or whatever. But anyway, he didn't. Let's put it this way: he did not. He didn't like it, I don't think, and thought the book was a load of crap. But I feel like with Stephen King, he writes inappropriate stuff. I mean, there's an infamous scene in the climax of the first half of It. I think it was the first half, and that is very like, oh my god, I cannot believe you are such a dirty old man. But I hate when he does that. So he does a lot, but as long as you know that he is like that, and he kind of is a dirty old man in his writing, then his books are great, and they're very well written. He's an amazing writer, and they're fun and interesting and engaging stories. I mean, if it's not your thing, then okay, fine. But I think you're missing out. But if you can't like get past that dirty old man thing. But I mean, of course, to each their own. I'm not judging. If you just, I mean, that's. But anyway, so far we've. But I'm finally on. I'm on the second part, and the book, the novel actually there's in the story there's actually excerpts. It looks like from the novel he's working on. There's excerpts from the novel he's writing on. I mean, the problem is, yeah, I like the story, and I want to keep going, but it's also one of those, not that it's boring or it's long, but I'm just not as, like, I gotta admit, like, part of me, as good as it is, I'm not entirely engaged with this story. It's going slow, so, it hasn't got to a point. I mean, it's weird, when I start reading it, I'm like, oh, I do want to read it, but I'm not like, oh, I have to keep going. I just kind of, but I do like it. It's just, I definitely have mixed feelings about it right now. Okay, I'll be right back. I need to turn on the light in my room. I just wanted to keep going and everything, but then it was like, I probably should go ahead and turn the light. Okay, so I am almost done with Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. Yes, I'm reading Cassandra Clare because I still like her, and I want to keep going with her worlds. But this is Simon's story, and his time as he's going to the Academy for Shadowhunters and learning to be a Shadowhunter. While he's there, he's also learning. We also get stories about the past. There's one story about Isabel's dad and his parabatai and how his time with Valentine and how he started, And there's also a story about there is of course the story that we're told that we should probably read before we start reading Lady Midnight. I just finished that one. And there's a story about Will and Tessa's children. And all these stories are surrounded at the academy. And seen through Simon's eyes, he was really struggling, especially after what happened at the end of what is it? The last book. What was the last book in the World Instruments called? Was it City of Lost Souls or City of Heavenly Fire? Maybe it might have been City of Heavenly Fire. I don't. Wait, it's on the back. Yeah, City of Heavenly Fire. It's after the event. If you guys, of course, where something really horrible happens to Simon. And in a way, he basically has to start over his life and put the pieces back together. That's all I'm going to say. And there's, of course, some Isabel and Simon drama. You can't have a YA without that kind of drama. I have mixed feelings about that kind of stuff because I'm a romantic and I love romance in my stories. And the drama drives me crazy, both in a good and a bad way. Essentially. So it's like, on the one hand, I kind of roll my eyes, but on the other hand, I'm kind of a sucker for it too. I'm trying to, I wonder, but anyway, I'm almost done. Let's see, how many more stories? Let's see. I'm probably gonna read a little bit of this. Yep. So there's 4 stories left. So I probably will not be getting this done in 24 hours. But I want to read another story. I want to read Bitter Tongue. I want to read that one. And then I probably want to read that one before we go to South Carolina. and then I won't. And this one, my goal is to get this done. Like, I don't want what happened with the Bane Chronicles to happen with this one. I think that was part of why I didn't enjoy the Bane Chronicles as much, because as much as I love Magnus, and I enjoyed spending time with him, I mean, he's one of my favorite characters, I spaced it out so much with the stories that I kind of, it's like, it lost my attention a little bit. I wasn't as engaged in that collection of short stories. This one I'm a little more engaged, though. Like, like I said, I have such, it drives me so crazy, the Simon and Isabel relationship drama. It was kind of cool coming back to these characters, getting some more backstory, and I've always been interested in learning some more about that Clary's mom when she was a teenager, and Luke, and meeting Alec and Isabel's parents and their time with Valentine. I've always been interested in seeing that story, that backstory, seeing that develop. I mean, if she doesn't want to write a whole novel, I would love for Cassie Clare, and I don't think she's done with this world. I know The Last Hours is coming out, but I want to, unless she's just tired of it after The Last Hours, which that is a bit risky, though, if she does get tired of it while ending that one, because then it might ruin the ending. If someone is finally bored and tired of something, they might rush the ending of the story, which is, I think, what happened with Game of Thrones. I think with the last ending, they just kind of were like, okay, let's just end it. But I would love for her, if anything, she could write, a short story collection that kind of pieces together that background, that story, the story of Clary's mom and all them. Maybe do a little collection of short stories about them, about the Circle. I think that would be interesting, because I'd love to know their story, and if she can't do a whole novel, because I love these characters, these characters that we do stories about. I would love to know more about the Circle and get more of there. Just write some short stories about them. That's all I ask. So, although, you know what, I always feel so, I feel self-conscious. I gotta admit, I feel a little self-conscious whenever talking about that I'm reading something like this, a YA book. Because, YA and authors like Cassie Clare have such negative reputations. And people judge people if they read YA, or, there's things I've heard about Cassie Clare, she's not nice to her fans and stuff like that. And, I see the difference between the writing style of a young adult book and then an adult book. And it's very, I have such, like I said, I very, I just get a little self-conscious. Thought that it should not matter. It really shouldn't matter. I can't help it. I feel a little but it doesn't matter, because I have a good time in this world. It's a guilty, and then so be it. It's a guilty pleasure. It's fun. I love spending time with Simon. I love spending time in this world again and get to know Simon's character. And I would like to watch. I'm interested in watching the show from the beginning and actually watching what I missed when I stopped watching, and just get back into it. I actually do have a group on Facebook about this world. So yeah, I'm gonna start reading The Bitter Tongue. I'm gonna start reading that one. That's the next story. Start reading that tomorrow. And then the last book I'm gonna talk about, and then there's there's a lot of other books. I did start reading Gardens of the Moon, but I think it was a mistake to bring that one to Jesse's, because I had trouble concentrating, and there were so many distractions, and of course, once again, I have the bad habit of bringing so many books with me, because I can't decide which book I'm in the mood for. So, and I just Maslin, The Fallen Empire. I still don't really know much what this book is about, what this world is. I think I have heard though that you can read these as standalones. But anyway, so I can't really tell you much about it. Like, I know this was one I saw some of the books from the series at Gibbons, so I bought them. I read the back description at the time. It sounded interesting. Not of this one though. They didn't have this one. And after I bought them, started buying them, I did hear that Daniel Green likes the series, and he says it's very epic, big scale. And if you're starting on these kind of science fantasies, don't start with this one. That's actually what he recommends, because it's such an epic world. You know, it's such a vast world that it can be very confusing. It can be too much. So, I need to start reading Dwarves. This is what I should bring with me to read tonight, but I need to finish Malice. So, and then Breath of Swords I need to get back into. And I did think about bringing Shaman's Crossing by Robin Hobb with me too. And then there's this Brandon Sanderson, his magnum opus. I need to continue with this one. Again, I just have such a hard time summarizing these books like The Skies of Time. Really focus on them. And I did start thinking about and then Primary the Orange Tree. I do need to get back to that one. The Exile Queen. I need to and then there were none I need to read. The Goldfinch I need to bring with me. I mean, there are so many books that I keep thinking, oh, I should bring this one with me, or I should bring this one with me, or I should read this one. That's my problem, because then when I get to that point, the night before we leave, and I can't narrow it down because there's so many books. I mean, I can narrow it down a little bit, but not a lot. So the last one I wanted to talk about that I'm currently reading is finally I'm getting on this Jumping on the Wheel of Time bandwagon and finally started reading it. This is the first book, The Eye of the World. Basically, it's a story about this farm boy, Rand Rand, and he lives in this quiet little village called the Two Rivers, and these mysterious strangers, Moraine, who's a powerful entity that, powerful sorceress, and her companion, what is his name? I can't remember his name. They arrive in the village, and along with the Glee Man, who is he's a storyteller, arrive in the village, and around the same time that night when they arrive, these mysterious creatures known as the what are they? As the I can't remember what they're called. It will take me too long, and I don't want to spend too much time. These creatures, mysterious creatures, the Trollocs, that's what they're called. Right. The Trollocs show up and attack Rand's home, along with the rest of the village, and particularly target Rand and his two friends, Matrim and I'm very bad with names. Matrim and I can't remember. Matrim and his other friend whose name escapes me. Stop doing that. Sorry, I don't know what shows up on the screen, but my screen keeps going black. I don't know if that's what happens with you guys, but Matrim and then his other friend whose name escapes me at the moment. Perrin. Matrim and Perrin. They are the only ones who get their homes get set on fire, and Rand escapes into the village with his dad, who has been wounded, and the woman, Moraine, tells him that she will heal his father, but Rand and his friends cannot stay there. So they go on they set out on a journey, and along the way, a girl from the village who is Rand's friend, who I think she's his love interest, follows them along because she wants to go on an adventure. And they are basically chased by Trollocs, Meridian, I don't know, this other mysterious shadowy figure, and all his minions, and they basically work for the bad guy, the Dark. I think he really is called like the Dark Lord or something. I think he really is. I can't remember. I do think he's the Dark Lord. I'm not 100% sure. So this is the fantasy book I'm really engaged in. And it does play compliments to the Fellowship of the Ring, to Lord of the Rings. But after this book, it does. Okay, I just dropped my book and the bookmark fell out. Okay, well, I will get that in a minute after I finish filming. But anyway, it does pay compliments to the Lord of the Rings. But after that, Robert Jordan does his own thing with the rest of the series, and apparently there are people, Lord of the Rings purists too, are like, how dare Jordan? He's not that great, and blah blah blah. And it's like, oh my god, yes, Lord of the Rings is awesome and stuff. It's the grandfather fantasy, but it's not the end all be all, you know? Which I commend, that's a literary sin, apparently. But it's like, I agree that it's great. And yeah, you'd probably say, if you haven't read it, how dare you speak about Lord of the Rings, but I didn't see the movie. Okay? And it was written, like, published in, like, the 50s or whatever, so it is dated. You know? But yes, I am not discounting what Tolkien did. But, like, and, you know, people that are Tolkien purists, that are all like, how dare you, you have to read fantasy, how dare you call yourself a fantasy reader if you don't read Tolkien. You know, and no, Jordan did not copy of Tolkien. Of course, you're probably thinking, how could you know? You never read the book. Which I did read the first 4 chapters, thank you very much. But anyway, I'm sorry, I know I've mentioned this before a long time ago in other videos, but it just drives me crazy. You know, people I feel like I shouldn't feel bad, but I know there are people out there that are Tolkien purists who will, like, you know, and even people when they jokingly say that, you know, and they're really just kind of mocking those people, like, sometimes even then it kind of, like, irks me a little bit, because it's like, even though deep down I know that they're joking, sometimes I feel like, okay, I don't want to read The Lord of the Rings. I mean, but I do have the audiobook, and yes, it's not physically reading, it's listening, but I'm still, you know, I still kind of am interested, but I'm not, like, eagerly pushing someone to buy that for me, because right now I can't buy it for myself. So, but if I see it at Books A Million one day, then maybe I'll buy it then. But I know it's not gonna be cheap. I think it's even more expensive than a hardback book. But anyway, okay, so that's kind of what's going on with me and my reading. I know I'm definitely gonna read Malice. That one is a definite. I definitely need to finish this one. So, and then I feel like I should read a little bit more of Misery. And then if and when I go to South Carolina, I'll probably bring that one with me because I feel like I need to bring at least one non-fantasy book and start reading some of those, especially because next month, because that will be in August, and in August I want to focus on non-fantasy books for a little bit since I read all fantasy this month. And then what my plan for September, I'm kind of stepping away from TBRs. I mean, I did step away from TBRs, but what I thought about doing is doing like a series, a TBR that's like, or making September a series a month where I focus on reading like starting series or reading the last book in a series or a trilogy, counting trilogies in this and duologies. Or just read the next book in a series. That's my plan for September. But for August, like I said, I want to read some non-fantasy books, but I'm probably still going to read like at least one fantasy, maybe more than that. But I want to definitely put emphasis on focusing on non-fantasy books. So if you liked this reading update, please give please give it a thumbs up and click subscribe if you have not. I would really appreciate it. And would love to know what you're currently reading. And as always, I hope you're enjoying whatever it is you're reading. And I will talk to you later as I go to find the last page I was at on Eye of the World, which thankfully I'm so glad I stopped on chapters. And I wasn't in the middle of a chapter. So I will talk to y'all later. Alright, bye!